Well, I did it again. I made the heaviest riff of all time. What's up, YouTube? My name's Brody. I just got out of the craziest session with Oriole, collaborator that I work with a bunch on this channel, working together on some new music, made our heaviest song to date, I think, and took some really creative approaches to how we made the riff, how we made the sound palette, how we made the textures within this one, and I wanted to share with you guys. As usual, I will include this session on my Patreon for you to download, thumb through everything here, as well as the instrumental if you don't have Logic. But yeah, super excited with how this one turned out. I want to run through and then talk about some of the production choices that we did with this one. Sounds like this. Chorus. Then we move forward, we have this breakdown that happens. Super big, open fight riff kind of thing. Super simple, just aggressive. This part builds into a cool bridge. The hook. Then out of the hook, we get their outro. This big ambient exit. Love how that one turned out. I feel like this is such a definitive song for Oriole. With a lot of our production, we try to combine like heavy, slower, hard-hitting shoegaze, rock, metal riffs with like a lot of natural textures. I guess this kind of goes hand in hand with like the folky shoegazy stuff that I do a lot. But with this, we really emphasize like the weight and like the hard-hittingness of parts, of like all the textures being organic and lifelike and natural. Nature is a big theme within Oriole, so we try to achieve that via the sound palette here. And with this being a super aggressive, like almost like battle music, we wanted to approach this with that in mind. I wanted to take the usual sound palette we have, the usual instruments, and flip everything on their head, make it sound like everything's breaking, falling apart, going at odds. You have the like crazy like smacking sounds. It sound like people like shields bashing into each other. I played a lot of my instruments incorrectly. I about broke my banjo with this one. So I'm excited to go through the layers and show all of the sounds happening here. Before we get into too much of the craziness though, I want to show the riff that started it. This song was indeed a song for the Jackson V. Certain songs I feel like have the type of energy that requires such a ridiculous guitar, and this song was definitely that. Took that in standard tuning through my PV amp, and I made this riff. Super aggressive. I boosted it with my blues driver, made it super distorted. I just kept, every time I hit a pinch harmonic or just any harmonic, I would hit the Floyd Rose as much as I could. Almost ripped the tremolo off of this guitar a few times tracking this. I just wanted to be like as hard hitting as I could. I think that's a thing that makes riffs sound heavy, is just like the aggression behind it, you know? Like not just making sure your pick attack is hard enough, but like you're kind of channeling that energy. And I feel like we did that within that riff and then like the verse riff here. Just gross. Some really ugly pick scrapey things too. Also for the verse section with that riff. Even though I'm in standard tuning, I'm playing it like open power chords as if it was in a drop tuning to kind of give like the inverted, like the fourth versus the fifth. And it gives us this really unique, ugly kind of sound. I also do some layering. Like in the main riff, I want to make it sound a lot bigger. So I also tracked with my bass 6. Took this guy and with a fuzz pedal, got some really gnarly tones. That's kind of tucked in the back, but it definitely adds some weight to the standard tuning tone. I feel like the bass 6 is the reason why I don't really play outside of standard and drop D, is just that like between those two, I can really track in any key. And especially if I'm using those inverted power chords, that would make my like, if I ring out open note, I could play it as a E if I do a regular power chord, or if I do the inverted power chord, it's like an A. So I could realistically, that gets me all the way down to like an A standard territory. So for me, between those two, it kind of captures every range. Yeah, we have those. We have the same layering happening on the chorus here. It's really thick. I love that tone. I'm so happy with it. We have these cool leads kind of happening. Kind of like a metallic sound. It's pretty tucked in the background, but it adds some ambience. And then the drums here. We have our drums. Fun, aggressive kind of sound. I'm using Superior Drummer for heavy music and like heavy 90s, 2000s style music. The Easy Drummer death metal kit is perfect bass for me. I'm kind of layering it with another kick drum to add some more weight to it. But that snare just sounds so nice. That reverb is cool. I love how high the snare is tuned. It just gives it that really like nu metal-y snap. It just sounds angry. And then the ride bell thing. Yeah, I'm thinking like if a person would drum angrily, they would hit the ride super hard on the bell instead of like the quieter part of it. Doing a lot of like cymbal grabs where like you hit the china and immediately mute it. It's fun. A ton of momentum, a ton of aggression. Get our bass tone, pretty grimy. That is my split DI. Ampeg SVT. Warming it up with some Radiator and Saturn. So you get that twang in the top end, and then parallel layer through my PV as well for this like throaty, nasally kind of distorted tone. And yeah, that is our guitar, bass, and drums. Sounds huge. Even that is just 2 rhythm guitar, bass, and the drum layer. Then we get the second half of the song, which is like a whole orchestra of craziness. Moving to the chorus. I love that. Now this is what gives the song life, you know? The riffs are cool, the core of the song is cool, but this is what gives it the character. This is what places it in the world. This is what places it within the Oriole song that we wanted to make. And it's a lot of cool things going on. I'll start from top to bottom. We got some aux percussion happening. I have my tambourine and shaker. Pretty normal. Nothing crazy with the tambourine and shaker. That's just adding some percussion, adding some movement. But then we have this clap layer. It sounds kind of nuts. I distorted it a bunch. I compressed it a bunch. And I stereo mic'd it. I recorded it with 2 microphones in my room. And the 2 of us kind of spread off and clapped in different areas. And I played this one as the normal pitch. Sounds crazy still with all the distortion. And then this one I pitched an octave down to make it sound kind of strange. It messes with the phase as well as the octave shifting. And just makes it sound like a little bit metallic. I think metallic is a word that I tried to come back to a lot with this production, just to make everything sound like natural but harsh and like verging on uncanny but still natural at its core. And that's just a cool sound effect. It just sounds aggressive. It sounds like fighting, you know? Intentionally didn't time align it also. I kept it pretty sloppy that way, except for the one that is like a 4 count into the song. I time aligned to keep timing. But within the mix, I kept it pretty sloppy intentionally. Then we have all of our acoustic instruments. We start with my favorite, the Shruti box. This like meditation instrument, pipe organ, harmonium kind of thing. I have it just off camera down here. But I love it for any drones, any pads. That sounds kind of crazy, but it almost, if you think about it, it kind of sounds like a high-pitched like war siren in a way in this context and with those notes. And when you tuck it back in the mix, it just adds this really haunting kind of layer. Versus it's like in a live synth pad. I really like that. Then we have evil banjo layer. I have a few different things happening. What I did was like, I want to play this wrong. I want to approach my instruments incorrectly and add some like just chaotic sounds to it. So I picked it behind the bridge, and then intentionally also like while picking behind the bridge would scratch the drum head a bunch and just like try to make a noisy, like clashing, like ugly sound. And I compressed it and distorted it. Just to bring it more up front and exaggerate the craziness of it. Especially in some of these riffs, it makes a big difference. If I turn it up. It's nice. It just like, especially with that ride cymbal going, it just sounds like uncomfortable. We have another banjo layer. This one is less ugly. This is when we hit the chorus. I intentionally kind of let things open up in the chorus and get a bit more melodic. You hear it with that as well as the other layers happening. I'll play it all through together. I'll throw the bass in for context. And the drums. Really cool combination of things. So you have that banjo, and then I played this acoustic guitar. I think I played this acoustic guitar riff first, and then I used the banjo as like a lower harmony to it, fill out that mid-range. I love this riff because on its own, it sounds like a pretty, like a major Midwest emo kind of thing. I have a mandolin layer that I ran through halftime and distorted. Originally, I had tracked it like this. Let's get some like ugly sounding, tension building parts. And then I ran it through halftime and thought it just sounded so haunting. Like it sounds like an army approaching or like something evil in the distance. Like I love that sound. And some of the weird rhythm, since I didn't quantize it, sometimes when the halftime re-triggers at the right time, but the mandolin playing is a little off, it sounds strange, and I really like that. And it's just like this really cool contrast to the pretty layers. Here it sounds nice, but when I go... Next we have, oh yeah, another thing I did to add to the metallicness of this. It's something I did a few sessions ago. Really liked it, and I wanted to implement it in this context. Instead of tracking big acoustic guitar chords panned in the choruses and in the riffy parts, I put a microphone up to my electric guitar while I was riffing, so you get this sound, which I also compressed and distorted. So this is like and it just emphasizes the metallicness of it. It emphasizes the rawness, just like the ugliness of it. So yeah, that happens on like the verses and like the main riff. Really nice sound to it. I love that. Kind of finishing it off, just some transition sounds, a white noise and a big impact. I love that. Shout out the cashmere impacts on Splice. It's like a movie trailer thing, but when you tuck that in behind the mix of like the start of a big rock chorus, it just sounds, it's like the sound, you know? Without it, and with it, you kind of don't notice it until I point it out and you hear it in like out of context. Big, like, I feel like that became popularized via like a lot of like the 2010s Joey Sturgis era metalcore, and it just is such a nice way to make these like larger than life productions, you know? But yeah, that is the end of it. This song, pretty crazy, but also pretty concise. It has its idea and it really sticks to that. It has like a thematic thing that keeps going throughout. But yeah, super excited about how this one turned out. Super excited to share this one with you guys. I hope if you're on the Patreon or considering it, that you enjoy kind of thumbing through all this and seeing all the individual parts and what all the stems sound like. But yeah, that's it for today. I wanted to share this session. Super excited about it. I appreciate you all. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Hope you have a good rest of your day, and peace out.